Have a night, Brandon Lowe. Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Phillies Hot Stove Videocast, and today we're going to be recapping the second game of the World Series between the Tampa Bay Rays and the Los Angeles Dodgers, as the Tampa Bay Rays defeat the Los Angeles Dodgers by a final score of 6-4 as Brandon Lowe hits 2 home runs in this one, and Blake Snell was fantastic for the Rays. Now, guys, before we get into this video, please subscribe if you have not yet. Please turn on the notification bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and let's get into this. So, after the Rays lose Game 1, they come back and win Game 2 to tie up the series at 1. I said in the first recap of this series, I said the Rays, if they win the second game, it's a series again, and it's a series again. It's all knotted up at 1, and I'm still saying Dodgers in 6, but the Dodgers were just kind of outmatched by Blake Snell last night. I mean, they were able to get to the Rays bullpen a little bit, but when they faced Blake Snell, they did not look so good. And as I said, Brandon Lowe, a guy who hit 14 home runs in the regular season, hits 2 opposite field home runs. I mean, that was pretty nice to see from a Rays perspective. I mean, a guy, I mean, it's always nice to have a left-handed hitter. I mean, not just a left-handed hitter, right-handed hitter or left-handed hitter always go to the opposite field. It's always nice to see opposite field home runs. I mean, he hit two. So that's really, really impressive. And the Dodgers, once down 5-0 at this point, ends up being a 6-4 ball game. So the Dodgers are starting to come back a little bit. I mean, 5-0 and eventually was 6-4, and that's how your ball game ends. But let's take a look at the scoring summary. In the top of the first inning, Brandon Lowe homers on a fly ball to left center field, his first of the series. And the Rays now take a 1-0 lead. As I talked about, it's always nice to see an opposite field home run. I mean, he hit 2 of them, as I said. Then in the top of the fourth inning, Joey Wendle doubles on a line drive to right center field. Cho and Manuel Margot score, and it's now a 3-0 Rays lead. So Joey Wendle, he's been having some health issues the past couple years. He's a guy who was one of the top prospects for the Oakland Athletics. Eventually goes over to the Tampa Bay Rays, and a funny story, a teacher of mine actually knows his brother, he was friends with his brother and actually followed him up through his minor league career, and then he leading up to the big leagues. So I thought that was pretty cool to mention. Then in the top of the fifth inning, Brandon Lowe does it yet again. He homers on a fly ball to left field, a 2-run shot this time, his second of the game, and it's now a 5-0 Rays lead. 5-0 Rays. And I was sitting there watching that, I said, wow. I mean, I was confident that the game was over. So when I was sitting there watching that game, I'm like, okay, the Rays are up 5-0. They should be able to win this game, and I was pretty confident at that point. I mean, the Dodgers' offense is really, really good. You've seen that during the regular season and even in the postseason as well, of course. But 5-0 now. As I said, they still are going up against Blake Snell, who was absolutely dominating them. And the Rays had a 5-0 lead. I know the Dodgers have a good offense. You've seen that during the regular season. You've seen it during the postseason. But 5-0 lead, you're still going up against Blake Snell, who this has been completely dominant against you for the start of the game, and so it looked like a big uphill battle for the Dodgers. Well, they fight back a little bit against Blake Snell. In the bottom of the fifth inning, Chris Taylor homers on a fly ball to right center field, a 2-run shot, and it's now a 5-2 ball game. So the Dodgers fighting back a little bit. Now it's a ball game again. You're down 5-0. Now it's just a 3-run deficit. I mean, you could come back from that. Then in the top of the sixth inning, Joey Wendle, the guy who drove in 2 runs on the RBI double early in the game, he hits a sacrifice fly to left field. It was a liner. I tell you, that ball would have gone down. That would have been trouble, but it ended up being a sac fly to score Chow, and the Rays now make it a 6-2 ball game to get one of those runs back after the Taylor 2-run home run. And then in the bottom of the sixth inning, Will Smith, a guy who has been great for the Dodgers behind the plate. Offensively, I tell you what, he has been unbelievable. He homers on a fly ball to left center field to make it a 6-3 ball game. So the Dodgers cut that lead in half, and they're trying to come back and tie up the ball game. And I thought maybe they could do it. As I said, I mean, never count this Dodgers team out. Their offense is unbelievable, and they're definitely capable of it. I thought for sure that they could do it. And there's no doubt in my mind. I mean, their offense, as I talk about almost every video about the Dodgers, their offense is so deep. Their balance between lefties and righties in their lineup is just unbelievable. They have a lot of star power on that team as well. And I talk about this every time I bring it up. The Dodgers were more of a lefty heavy team for many, many years. They go over and trade for Mookie Betts of the Red Sox, and that really, really balanced out that lineup a lot. I mean, you got guys like Peterson, Muncy, Bellinger, Seager. I mean, and now you got a guy like Mookie Betts who's really going to balance out that lineup. So that was a great move there. And I have a big point I'm going to talk about later in this video, but just not yet. I'm going to save it. And then in the bottom 8th inning, Corey Seager, he homers on a fly ball to center field to make it a 6-4 ball game. The Dodgers, as I said, were trying to fight back, and that would be it for them. That's it. That's your ball game. 6-4, your final score. As I said, the Rays were up 5-0 at one point. Ends up being a 6-4 final score. So the Dodgers almost came back, but wasn't enough. As the Rays get Game 2 after Blake Snell has a very, very good outing for the Rays. 4 2/3, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, and 9 strikeouts. The 4 walks are not very good, though. I mean, walking four guys in this 4 2/3, that's not very good. But the 9 strikeouts, he was striking guys out left and right. You got Kike Hernandez up in a crucial situation with runners in scoring position. He goes down on strikes. So I tell you what, man, I mean, he's good. He is good. And you don't win a Cy Young if you're not good. And, he is a very, very special pitcher. There's no question about that. And the Rays bullpen does its job. I mean, it did give up 2 runs, but a lot better than bullpens like the Phillies, right? I mean, you're going to be in the World Series. You have to have a good bullpen. And I feel like both of these teams have pretty good bullpens. But the Dodgers, they'd have a lot of guys in their bullpen. Guys like Kenley Jansen who can come on at a big spot, and they just don't have it. I mean, you didn't see that last night, but you've seen that in recent history where guys like Kenley Jansen come out and they just are flat out terrible. And I want to talk a little bit about something. The Dodgers, as I said, the series is tied up at 1. The Dodgers feel like a different team to me. It feels like there's a certain confidence level that the Dodgers have now that they haven't had in years past. And I'll tell you why. In 2017, they lost to Houston Astros in the World Series, and they were devastated. I remember that World Series. And I predicted them to win because I do think they were the better team that year. And little did we know that the Astros were actually cheating during that season. And as I said, we had no idea that it was going on. Then it comes out a few years later that the Astros actually cheated that year. There's a certain level of confidence and power and fire behind the Dodgers right now because the Astros were cheating that year, and it wasn't a fair World Series. I mean, that's just all there is to it. I think that really made them angry, as it should, because it's just not right. And I think that's been able to really propel them to where they are right now. And as I said, I know they made it to the World Series the past couple of years. I know they made it in 2018, 2017. They didn't make it last year because they got knocked out in the division series against the Nationals. But it feels like there's just the energy level and the conception I get from the Dodgers is that they're a very, very hungry team and a very, very confident team that I haven't really seen over these past couple of years that they've been in the playoffs, let alone the World Series. So that's why I do think they will win the World Series. I know the series is tied up now. But what a performance out of the Rays last night. Your Phillies hot stove player of the game, Brandon Lowe, 2 home runs, both going to the opposite field. As I talked about, that's a really, really good sign. As I said, he hit 14 home runs in the regular season. So he was the hero for the Rays last night. And you also look at Joey Wendell. I mean, I talk about him too. I mean, it's a funny story I talked about earlier with one of my teachers, knowing his brother and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, he has been great for them. I mean, you saw, hit that two RBI double last night, but look at that sac fly he hit. As I talked about, it was a line drive out. I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't like a typical sac fly that goes way up in the air. He hit the ball hard. So the Rays definitely were having some solid contact last night. If you're going to go over and look at the Dodgers side, Gosselin was on the mound. He went an inning and a third, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. The only run he allowed was to that solo home run to Brandon Lowe. That was it for him. And the Dodgers, I mean, my goodness gracious. I mean, how many pitchers are you going to use? I mean, they used 7 pitchers last night. I mean, that's just crazy. And they end up losing the ball game. So that's a head scratcher for me. I don't understand that. And that's part of the reason why they lost. As I talk about, if you want to go look at all these games where, they bring in so many different pitchers, all these different guys are coming in, and I mean, that's the way you lose. I mean, really, that's the way you lose. I mean, as I talked about, you're going to run into somebody who's going to have an off day. So, that's just my opinion. I mean, you can't bring in all these different pitchers and expect to win. That's all I'm going to say. But from a Rays perspective, you tie up the series. You're feeling good. You tie up the series. It's now 1-1. And now you're going to be the home team for the next 3 games. So I know it doesn't really feel like the home team. I know you're going to be wearing your white uniforms, and the other team's going to be wearing the gray uniforms. But I know you're not in your home stadium. But it always feels good to be the home team, since this game is being played in Arlington, Texas, at Globe Life Stadium. I mean, it's been weird. As I talked about yesterday, it's always nice to see fans in the ballpark. It's nice to see fans back in the ballpark. That's the way it should be, as I said. So, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you have not yet. Please turn on the notification bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Please check out the social media link in the description section at Phillies Hot Stove, Instagram, or Fanatics Instagram. Guys, call or text 267-225-3392. Email me, phillieshotstove@gmail.com. Guys, thank you so much for watching. 808, the first pitch tonight. Walker Buehler, 1-0 with a 1.89 ERA, going against Charlie Morton, 3-0 with a 0.57 ERA. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I am Luke, and I'll talk to y'all later. Rays even up the series, defeat the Dodgers 6-4. 808, the first pitch tonight. I'll talk to y'all later.